Hey everyone, it's Dr. K. I can't stress enough how bad foot or ankle mobility really adds up to poor movement habits. So this all affects everything above the chain. So we're talking about the knees, the hips, the back. And that's why it all starts with this concept called the listening foot. So there's so much sensory information about your environment around you that comes in from the foot that influences your balance, your pelvic stability, even the way that you keep your upright posture. You know, your foot is constantly sending good information through your central nervous system to your brain so that it can be processed instantaneously, and it unconsciously adjusts the way that your body behaves, the way that it moves when you're doing activities like running, jumping, or exercising like squatting or lunging. You know, when the bottom of your foot is stimulated by good weight-bearing activity, it basically does things in the lower chain that starts to prepare it for movement, like firing up your quads, getting your glutes to activate, and prepares them to handle the load and gives them the stability they need. That way, you know, you can do things stress-free. You know, the brain is basically interpreting all that information to help you figure out your center of gravity. So, if we have a foot and an ankle complex that's very rigid, that means it's incapable of actually listening to the floor. Because, you know, we'll see time and time again that patients will come in and they notice that, you know, their foot is either shortened or narrowed, or maybe their toes grip the floor whenever they're exercising or doing activity, or maybe they even notice there's some instability or wobble or lean towards focusing on one side versus the other whenever they're putting pressure on their foot. So rigid foot, you know, can be associated with things like groin pain, like pelvic pain, and even, you know, inadequate glute activity and low back problems or pain. So, you know, sometimes we'll see that it'll cause overuse injuries like shin splints or Achilles tendonitis, right? So everyone has a personal musculoskeletal story that makes sense for them. You know, that's your story. And, you know, maybe there's an old ankle sprain or knee surgery or something in the past that needs to be addressed. But basically, you know, if it leads to the development of a rigid foot complex, you know, that can be a problem. Now, I won't know specifically what your situation is unless I had a chance to talk to you and see how you move, make sense of your movement habits. But what I can do is teach you a technique to develop, you know, a good listening foot, and then that way you can get better, you know, more informative sensory information from the ground up to help prepare the muscular chain in your legs for activity. And it basically achieves, you know, good transfer of power through your gluteals as well, okay? So how do you actually know whether or not you have, you know, a rigid foot pattern? Well, you know, do you notice that maybe your toes curl up, or maybe they lift off the floor whenever you're exercising? You know, maybe you're doing activity, exercising, or maybe you're just doing house chores, you notice those things. Do you notice that you stand more on one foot versus the other? Or if you're standing on your foot, you know, does your whole foot move from side to side, or does your ankle, you know, allow you to make little adjustments to keep your foot in contact with the floor? You know, if you close your eyes, you know, do you notice that maybe your foot feels like it gets rigid and tight, and, you know, it's starting to ask for more information from the environment? You know, these could all be signs that you have, you know, poor sensory awareness and mobility in the listening foot. So what I want you to do is basically sit in a nice chair like this with both feet on the floor, and, you know, you can do this with no socks on, or keep your socks on, but what we want is no shoes on. That way, you know, your foot is getting maximum contact with the surface of the floor underneath it. Now, what you're going to notice is that, you know, with that good contact, we're going to do this with one foot at a time. We're going to shift the pressure from the front of your foot to the back of your foot, and maybe from one side of your foot to the other side of your foot. So, you know, just notice if anything's a little tender or sensitive, or maybe you're just not getting the same sort of sensory information when you shift from side to side. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on your lower leg, just underneath your knee. And basically, you know, this is going to help show you what kind of motion we create whenever we're having a good, viable listening foot. So with as little effort as possible, all I want you to do is shift your weight on your foot towards the outside of your foot, and then towards the inside of your foot, and then maybe even a little bit towards the front of your foot and towards the back of your foot. So we're doing little effort as possible, but what we're noticing is our lower leg rotates, carrying our hands with it when we move the pressure from side to side. And you'll see that there's, you know, rotation in your lower legs from your hands that occurs whenever you're moving in those directions. So the point of this drill is to basically make you aware that you know, this movement should be smooth and slow as possible, but you shouldn't notice any extra tension in your feet whenever you're moving around those positions. You know, you should notice that, you know, when you shift that pressure from the outside of your foot to the inside of your foot, that there's no undue tension or pain in your foot that you're being made aware of. So I'll post another video on mobilizing a stiff foot and ankle complex to help improve your listening foot capacity. In the meantime, give this a drill just to try and get some context and make better sense of your motion. And let me know if you have any questions or concerns. You know, I really love solving difficult, you know, movement-based problems, helping people stay active. So I'm celebrating your success already. Stay strong, inspire others.